Yeah, basically just I'd like to work with people, getting, helping businesses get back on their feet again, really, and help promote their businesses again through designing publicity in print or online. And yeah, and one of the main things I have lost is I did quite a few publications for organisations, which is another thing I'd like to get another couple of publications on board. And then another avenue which I did go down slightly is wedding stationery. So that is something that I could, if Shed One do that type of thing with, they could maybe, look at that when you promote your wedding side of things. So yeah, that's it really from me. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ellen. This is awesome already. I love this. I love it when we get people in a room who you can just, you start, this is what networking's all about. The lovely Ian, I will come to you next.
Hello, how are we doing? Ian from Wood & Co. Wood & Co's a kind of full-service content creation company, I guess. I'm a photographer, commercial photographer with a 3,000 square foot studio in Kendal, geared up really for products and e-commerce in the studio, that is. We're doing a lot of beer at the moment, which is awesome. People are selling beer online, and they've realised that basically the pictures are shit, so they need better ones. And we like beer because they never want their samples back. Spend an awful lot of time out at the studio as well. I do a lot of fashion photography, so again, it's full service. So I'm actually just uploading Lakeland Leathers Spring Summer 20, which is like a smaller capsule collection, really. We did half a day on site, so images for their e-commerce, not their e-commerce, images for their MailChimps, their email out, the web headers, the shop banners, the posters, and then half a day in the studio doing the e-com for that collection. So it's dead flexible what we can do, but when you understand social media as well, it totally helps the client get what they don't know they want often. I'm seeing Sarah down there. You're down below me. Done a lot of work with these guys at Graithwaite and also all over the country, really, London conferencing and things like that. So yeah, people, not so much. I do a few business portraits, but I'm looking really for anybody who's looking to sell online and a full content creation package, including video and tourism stuff, accommodation, interiors. I do a lot of kitchens as well, bizarrely, loads of but no
Brilliant.
food.
That's great, Ian. Thank you so much. It's lovely to hear that people have worked together in the room as well. It always makes it easier. Paul Helm.
Hi everybody, I'm Paul Helm. I have a small company called LA12 Limited based out of Ulverston. So I'm currently at home in Bardsey. My apologies if there's a lot of banging in the background. We've got some builders in replacing part of a roof at the moment, so I might get drowned out. We, as a company, develop virtual reality solutions. We primarily, up until February, were working with corporate clients, mainly oil companies, a few other local companies like Bender & Co, GlaxoSmithKline and others. The VR solutions are designed around collaboration, remote collaboration. So we're thinking of a new marketing campaign starting after COVID, which is based around the phrase, "We told you so," because lots of companies always used to tell us, no, we don't need that. But obviously, I think things have changed a little. When COVID hit, we were about to kickstart a whole bunch of stuff with the local hospital on using VR for rehabilitation for stroke victims. We were working with the University of Cumbrian on a bunch of things, and all that completely died. The oil price tanked, the oil company stopped, so all our business vanished completely. So you've heard the expression of pivoting as a business strategy. We don't pivot, we rotate at high speed. And what we've ended up doing is taking our collaboration framework and building games for VR, because that market is still quite dynamic. And at the end of this month, we plan to launch our first collaborative dungeon escape room game for VR. Now, the reason why I'm on the call today, apart from I always enjoy when Soph and Janet put these sessions together. They're absolutely brilliant. The reason is that there's two aspects of collaboration I'm interested in. Always collaborated in whatever business setting I've been in. Some good, some bad, but not many in the local area. The things we want to collaborate with at the front end of our process, assuming this game takes off and we can get revenue in, I'm a believer in return before investment. When the money starts coming in, we want to try and find a community of creative talent in Cumbria and the South Lakes in particular. Everything from digital media through graphic art, obviously, but also 3D modeling, animation, all of those kind of things, because we've already come up with 4 or 5 other games that we want to develop, and we could do it faster if we've got more people involved. The other thing we can do is that when we did the first pass of this game, it was designed for physical escape rooms. In other words, bringing people together, pop headsets on them and letting them go through a 1-hour experience. We still have that piece of the game. And one of the things we'd like to offer back is for those people who have venues, and that's literally anywhere, we can offer pop-up VR experiences. And the way we do this is quite simply, we turn up with 4 PCs and headsets, set them up in an open room, and people pop these things on and play a game together in a virtual space. It's actually say it's in a dungeon for up to an hour, depending on how smart they are. If they're really smart, they get out quicker. This is one of our target markets, but we acknowledge that not everybody's going to have their 10, 11, 12,000 pounds worth of equipment they're going to need. So our approach is very simple. We'll collaborate with people. So you've got the space, we've got the technology. So we'll come in, we'll set up, we'll share the revenue. It's as simple as that. Because the average rate for something like this is around about 40 to 45 pounds an hour, which is not a huge amount, but it scales very, very nicely. So we're happy to want to collaborate at the front end and in terms of the back end, in terms of the revenue generation. I'll shut up now, because otherwise we'll run out of 1 hour and 50 minutes with me still talking. So.
That's absolutely super. Thank you, Paul. It's both things that you're looking for as well. I'm sure that people in the room are going to be right behind you and able to support you with that. Fantastic. The lovely Nick Hood.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing? Good, thank you. Right, okay, I'm actually going to confuse matters a little bit, because I'm actually here with 3 hats on today, if that's okay. I didn't want to have 3 screens. First things first, the big hat is Cumbria Share. And this is what collaboration is all about. It's an online platform for promoting and introducing Cumbrian-based businesses. It is what we do. So it's a platform, and it gives people the opportunity to promote themselves and interact with each other as the members, then also the free users, everyone who's seeing what is going on as well. So Cumbria Share, we've been running for 16 months now. It's the sister platform to Lancashare, which is nearly 4 years old now. So they're a bit ahead of us with the numbers and everything. But what I've been able to do, I manage Cumbria Share. I actually spoke to Andy about an hour and a half ago as he was doing his rounds. What I've been able to do as part of the lockdown process and gifts, etc., I've been permissioned to give some 6-month memberships away. So what I'm going to offer to do to everybody in the room today is give them, if they're not already members, because Vix is and Flock are, is give you a 6-month membership of Cumbria Share, which will give you an opportunity to put your business out there to other members across Cumbria and everywhere. So if I can liaise with Janet, so sorry for dropping this on you. If I can get contact details and everything, I'll put my email address in the chat in a minute. So I'm happy to do that. And it gives everybody a big launch to get them through, not only through lockdown, but then the other side, to make sure we're all moving as well. So I will initiate that afterwards. I'm also here as a guest house owner, the Ravensworth in Windermere, which has been shut for just short of 3 months now. And obviously with the panel that we did yesterday, a lot of people, and obviously Andy and Zoe and everyone, all other businesses, we just don't know when we're going to open. There's a vicious rumour going around that it's going to be the 4th of July, obviously with guidelines, potentially. But then it was brought forward that that might actually be a bit earlier. So we don't know if we're ready because we don't know the guidelines and things like that. It's just a sitting and waiting to see. So with Ravensworth guest on is the likes of if people do group things or everything. So like if Ian's got a group photography group or Vix has group things or anything like that, we're obviously happy to work with people with the guest house. If people are coming up for weekends and things like that, obviously happy to offer rates, etc. Even if it's just family coming up for weekends or anything. So give us a shout with that. And the third hat, Andy and Zoe, are you listening? I also run, for the last 2 years, the Lake District Wedding Fair. And this, oh yes, oh, there she goes. So I loved it when your message came through yesterday. Now, wedding fairs, obviously it was at the Junction 36 Auction Centre, and we were one of the last events to happen because it was the back end of February that we ran it. And of course, 2 weeks later, everything got shut down and stopped. Now, again, with guidelines, social distancing, big events like that, I don't think are going to happen for about 18 months. You are not going to be able to put a bunch of people in a room, whatever the size. Even with the social distancing, the way you have to work your floor plan out will be that the exhibitors will have to be probably 8 meters apart. When you've got your 2 meters and then your meter for your person, then another 2 gap to the next person and then the next exhibitor. So the actual economics of doing events like that, it's just a no-brainer because the volume of people and exhibitors, you just won't be able to put them in the room. So it will not make economic sense to do. So the wedding fair next year is going online. We've already got a platform being developed. Now, a few people have done things like this and they've just like opened up Facebook or Instagram, but this will be a platform that will be attached to Cumbria Share platform, and we'll probably be able to do 4 a year. So the brilliant thing about it is you don't have to have 2 days away from your business because it's all online. You can be in your store, in your shed, in your distillery or at your venue with your webcam on, and people will be able to book appointments and see you virtually from there as well. And we'll be able to do more because the costs will be a lot less because we don't have any venue fees, anything like that as well. So news for that one coming up. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you, Nick. Absolutely.
Sorry, Janet, if I think you've just said we're not going to be able to do events for 18 months. But I don't
Janet, Sarah, we're all like,
I know, but I don't think you will. No, I'm on about outdoor potentially, but it's just going to be the numbers. It's what I was talking about, the organising event like a trade show where we used to be able to fit 120 exhibitors in a room. We're probably only going to get 60. So the numbers will just not add up. That's what I mean. You'll still be able to do events, but not on the scale. Don't worry. Sorry, Janet. Sorry, Sarah, as well.
It's cool. We're fine. We've got this, haven't we, Sarah? I'm going to let you speak next because I know and understand your industry. So over to you, my darling.
Has anybody got a job? After Nick's work. I'm Sarah from CBA Events and Graithwaite Adventure. And CBA Events is sort of my, I set the business up nearly 20 years ago, and we specialise in corporate events, event design, event management, venue finding, team building, training, exhibition, stand design and exhibition management. And it's very much UK wide and overseas. Corporate business sector, but my other hat, which we launched 3 or 4 years ago, CBA Events at Graithwaite. Graithwaite Estate is on the shores of Windermere on the western shore, and we decided that we wanted to sort of amalgamate everything that we've done over the previous 25 years and set up outdoor adventure activities in quite an exclusive area in where we love and live, obviously the Lake District. So we set up CBA Events at Graithwaite, but we took the decision over this winter to rebrand and detach the offering from CBA Events and lose the CBA Events sort of as part of the brand. And we rebranded in March as Graithwaite Adventure. Last year we won Cumbria Tourism Experience of the Year award. And I think probably it's sort of come to a time in our lives where Tim and I have decided that after 20 years of racing up and down the country and in and out of airports, delivering corporate events, then it's maybe a sort of lots of reasons, but a lifestyle choice to concentrate on Graithwaite. certainly on the back of sort of last year's success and awards, and this will now become our primary focus really. So Graythwaite Adventure, we've designed and built the Lake District's only purpose-built 4x4 course. We've got British Off-Road Driving Association accreditation and instruction. Nowhere else in Cumbria has that. Clay pigeon shooting, archery, bushcraft and water sports, and it's all on the private estate. In terms of collaboration then, we've worked with a number of certainly hotels locally, and I think that's probably what we're keen to do now is we have already in the last couple of years generated quite a lot of inbound corporate and stag and hen business into the area, but obviously for example a stag party might sort of offer a full concierge service, so we'll look after them by collecting them from the train station on the Friday and dropping them back there at Oxenholme on a Sunday. But how we make that experience is more than just coming to us for a day of outdoor adventure. So obviously working closely with hotels, we brought them up to Keswick because one of them particularly wanted to go to the Keswick brewery for a tour. We had lunch at the pie shop in Ambleside, so we sort of bring all those experiences together, and I think that's what I'm really keen as a focus. Quite what's going to happen the rest of this season obviously we don't know, but I think the outdoors is probably the safest place to be. So if we can sort of push the fact that, you know, we've got an abundance of space, as long as not too many people flock here, of course, and outdoor experiences and the benefits and mental health and well-being, but it's not just about visitors coming in to experience Graythwaite. It's very much about everybody benefiting that we can draw business into the county for. Obviously Ian we've worked with together, Victoria I know from events as well, obviously Nick we know each other, so you know, this is a great platform for us to be able to sort of speak to people that we haven't necessarily had conversations with before, and I think that's the key moving forwards. Everybody's going to emerge out of coronavirus situation with all sorts of different feelings and takes on it, and at different paces. I think we all need to be sympathetic to that, but at the same time we all need a big, as much help as we possibly can, don't we, really, as a destination. So that's where we're at, really. Yeah,
that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much, Sarah. And I'm sure, I mean, already my head's going at 100 miles an hour, and we want to get people down there, and I can shoot some clays and do all that kind of business and bring people. And I'm sure there's lots of other people in the room who have experiences that can help enhance your offering as well. It sounds fantastic. Matt Redman.
Hi, Matt Redman from Elder Grove Guest House in Ambleside, just a 10-bed guest house that's predominantly open all year round. What we're looking to do, having been here for 2 years, is to continue to add value and customer experience, ultimately to increase length of stay, but buy into the whole experiential holiday for people coming. Our average stay is just over 2 days. We're looking at putting together itineraries and working with other organisations so that people can plan ahead. Maybe they want 3 or 4 days, maybe they want to 2 centres, Ambleside, Keswick, to get more out of the Lake District. We have tried and worked with wildlife photographers. We've also done work with one of the tour companies, so we offer a sort of a second stay to them and tie back in. Neither worked particularly well, but we feel there's more work to be done there to kick those off again. Yeah, we're kind of really keen on maybe mountain leaders and that type of thing. We have a lot of people that come, that stay on the tarmac, maybe stay on the low fells, and want to work with people that will safely broaden their experience of the Lake District. So they want to come back in again and again. And again, generally to help the economy, not just ourselves, but everything in the industry is leading towards longer stays, making customers more sticky. And I think that's all part of, the longer they're here, the more great experience they have, then that's better for everybody. So that's kind of what we're looking for, collaborate with some people out there to help that happen.
Brilliant. Thank you, Matt. I think it's actually really lifting my spirits, to be honest with you, hearing about how positive people are feeling in terms of wanting to spread the love. If we work together, it's actually better for everyone. I guess we were preaching to the converted anyway, because we said, let's talk about collaboration. So it's just good to hear that people are genuinely looking at ways of making that work. Thank you so much. Money.
Unmute, that's a good start. Thank you, Sophie. I feel a bit of an interloper because I'm actually in Bombay at the moment. Well, I say at the moment, the accent is a bit of a giveaway. I'm from a little place called Skelmersdale originally, so it's okay, I'm there. But we've been here for about 11 years. We support communications and creative agencies worldwide, and the idea is very simple. I think in this day and age where everyone has taken a beating, everyone's business is struggling with one way and another. What we supply is things like page layout, packaging design, who was it? Someone mentioned 3D modeling. So it's all of those creative services, and with a cost advantage, and a time advantage. So we basically put money back on your bottom line, and we put hours back into your studio without you having to invest in the capex, So it's all on secure servers. We've actually been doing this for since we arrived, so about 10 years. And it's just with the whole COVID situation, which I have to say, this is my first day in the office, because we've had a very, very strict lockdown in India. And in India, Maharashtra has been really, really badly hit. So we've got a curfew. We've got only food and pharmaceuticals were available. Thankfully, this week the wine shops opened up. So yay! We have a very nice collection of gin, and I have some very small samples when I was last in the lakes of some shed. Exactly, it's very nice. So I'm going to use your little marmalade recipe. But yeah, I would love to collaborate. The idea is that, we have the same platforms. We have excellent technicians who are talented. We respect your IP. So we're not going to piggyback and go to your client. I'm interested in having the relationship with you. And helping you and your business succeed. So you have the relationship with your client, what makes them tick. And we understand what good looks like. We've done really interesting projects although our studio is ISO accredited, it's in Bombay. We've done a shooting for a corporate client in New York. And we've set up the filming, and then the rushes all come back to us across secure servers. We do all the post, or we can give you the rushes. And for instance, Ian, you may want to hold on to the post-production yourself, or you can send some of the, the clever stuff, the rotoscopy or some of that stuff out to us. And therefore you're using your studio time to the most efficient way, and time is money. So that's kind of the offering. And our 4 verticals are publishing, which started off as annual reports, which is that grudge purchase, but everyone's got to do one. And the back end of it, which is the numbers bit, the bit your dad's interested in. All of that comes over to us. We lay it out. It's all proofread. And it goes back across secure servers. It's tight. We sign NDA, so I can't disclose any of our clients. But probably if you watch any football, the people on the shirts, we would have done most of their annual reports. packaging. So you decide with your client, okay, the orange is going to sit here, the straw is like this, the nutrition information is here. But then you've got all the different pack sizes. You've got, all the different variants. That's the bit that comes to us. So basically, we have the technicians, there's a cost advantage, a time advantage. And there was the old thing of better, cheaper, faster. Which two do you want? We can now give you all three. So the company's Indigo Pre-Media. Love to hear from you.
Well, thank you, Money. Sorry, Indigo Free Media.
I'll put the details on the chat.
Please do. That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely. Thanks, Money. Amanda Lancaster, over to you.
Apologies, I'm sort of dipping in and out today. Very strange, because I actually started my new job on the day of lockdown. Not many places you start a new job and you get asked to go to the office, you get handed your laptop, a phone, and then told to go home again. I now take a totally changed direction. Probably not much we can collaborate with, but probably the most person like us is Vivian at Just Company. I work for a care company now called Home Instead Senior Care, and we actually go in with caregivers and provide care for elderly people in their own homes. So lockdown has had, and COVID has had, quite a prominent effect. Sort of my first week, we lost 10 caregivers overnight going into self-isolation, but you still had all these elderly people that still needed their care giving. So it was sort of a baptism of fire my first couple of weeks. So I'm still here. We're all still working from home. We're all still doing our training from sort of via Zoom as well, and everything else. So I have to say we're probably one of the few industries that, although we have been affected, we are still recruiting sort of 2 or 3 caregivers a week at the moment. I've had 8 different inquiries today, all with care managing to start this week. We're just managing to get care in place for everybody at the moment. So it's a totally sort of different aspect. I used to be in industry. I've met Ian when I was working at a previous company, and different things. So it's, and used to be in sales and everything else. So it is completely different. I do all the scheduling of all the caregivers and everything. So it's totally different, but I wanted to come today because it's interesting still to keep sort of my hand in with everybody, and to understand. And you never know, there might be ways we can also collaborate. And it's all about networking, really. So I'm sort of in the background because my phone is permanently ringing at the moment with care inquiries coming through but people have obviously sort of, when we all went into lockdown, have sort of taken their parents in with them, but now they're all starting to go back to work. They're now all thinking, actually, what do we do now? And so all the care inquiries are starting to pile back through again and things. And obviously, due to the media and everything else, that they don't particularly want to put people into care homes. If they can keep them in their own homes, it does everybody better. We do a lot of respite care. We do a lot of waking nights. We've just taken on an elderly client, and we've got waking nights 7 nights a week, sort of 8 at night till 6 in the morning for people. So that's hard work to actually schedule. So we're probably one of the few industries that actually still working sort of flat out, really. But that's just a little bit about me, really. So.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Amanda. I can imagine it's a very, very hectic time at the minute, and of course with all the extra precautions that everyone will have to be taking, I can imagine it is like a baptism of fire, no doubt.
It is, especially as we can only order PPE for week by week. We're only allowed to order enough PPE for the visits we have that week. So you've literally got the caregivers coming in each week to pick up the new equipment for the week and things. So we've managed to build up a backlog, and we're getting there. But yes, that's been an added bit to it as well.
Crikey, I think Zoe and Andy just had their hand up. I don't know if that was something. There we are.
I just wanted to say, because we understand what's been going on with the care industry and the third sector, because of course when we started the sanitizer, it was unbelievable, some of the stories, and it's just been unbelievable. Anyway, so we are continuing until the funds run out to make the crowd-funded sanitizer.
Mm-hmm.
We have said, if you are in Cumbria, third sector care homes, care in the home, etc., you're having issues getting sanitizer, give us a shout, and we should hopefully still be able to help you with anything.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Zoe. Yeah.
Crowdfunded, it's gifted. You can make a donation
Perfect.
if you want, otherwise it's free.
Yeah, that's brilliant, Zoe. I'll be in touch with you. Thank you very much.
And also for Vivian Pike, if any of that's...
Yeah, I was thinking, I mean, obviously at this moment in time, we can't do anything at all, but our plan is to get something in place so that all our companions have some sort of PPE and hand sanitizer. So I'd be interested to buy some from you. Obviously, I don't expect to be given it. I'm happy to buy it from you.
What we're doing is for the stuff that we're making with the crowdfunding, saying if you would like to donate, then please donate, and that will go back in the crowdfunder and we will continue to make that. Within the next few weeks, we are also bringing out Shed One hand sanitizer, and that's going to be in a more pretty and sustainable, because then we're back to sustainable with glass, etc. That will be also, we will sell that through Shed One, and then part of the money will go back into charity, etc. So, but for the moment, as I say, we've got the crowdfunder donations.
If you want some, just make a donation.
Okay, I will speak to you both. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you.
I think you might have our details somewhere written on a scrap something. Yeah.
I have, got on my letter.
There you go. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt. Just thought before.
That's not interrupt at all. I mean, to be honest with you, I think me and Janet could just shut up and you guys would be fine. You're all collaborating already. It's absolutely excellent. Craig, Let Me Stay. Tell us about yourself.
Hi there. Hi everyone. Yeah, so we're Let Me Stay. We started the business just under 2 years ago now. So we manage 15 holiday lets in and around Ambleside, Windermere. We have one out towards Kirby Lonsdale as well at the moment. So we started the business just, I suppose, we had a holiday property. The agency that we worked with didn't necessarily work for us. We wanted to deliver a bit of an extra service, really. We didn't want that, we'll get your bookings and that's it. That's kind of not where we were at. We wanted to be personal. We wanted to involve as much of our love about the Lake District as well to people that are coming to stay. So obviously COVID hit and our bookings went from up here to down there. But it has given us a lot of time to reflect. And I think we've always sat down and said, how can we involve other businesses, whether it's retailers, whether it's, experiences like Sarah, etc., how we can make a guest experience even better and also help the local economy. So I suppose that's where I'm at now, hence this is useful. I don't really know where to start. Obviously you can do as much networking and things like that to get to know people, but it's how you set those platforms in place, how it benefits us as a business, our guests, and the end, and the other business that we're working with. So that's where we're at today, really, and it's great to meet everyone, and hopefully I can see a few things that we can already collaborate with already, and it'd just be great to hear ideas moving forward, really.
Brilliant. Wow, guys, what a fantastic room full of brilliant people. I'm so pleased, and I'm glad we wanted to keep this intentionally quite tight. So we have time to spend with each of you, because that's what we're going to do after we've spoken about collaborations generally. We're going to then spend a little bit of time with each of you, just coming up with some ideas between us. And I actually think that's probably going to end up a little bit more collaborative session than I kind of envisaged originally, which would be us, me and yourself having a chat. But I actually think with so many fantastic people in the room that's going to be further enhanced. So I'm really looking forward to that. We're going to move on now. We're running to time and everything. I'm absolutely gobsmacked, frankly. And I've only had half of my gin, and I've saved some. So I'm going to tickle my way through, and we're going to now talk about collaborations. So, Soph's going to give Janet a job now. You might even hear Janet's voice any minute now. That would be lovely. In fact, we can do it. Just mute me and you can have a little bit of a chat as well. That would be great. Okay, so the number one, we're going to give you 5 tips about collaborating, and this is kind of the process that we go through when we are looking at collaborating. We have done all kinds of weird and wonderful things. So things like this lovely afternoon tea with the brilliant Shed One. We've also planned whole treasure hunts across the whole of Cumbria for Hurdy. And with that, we had to collaborate with about, 30 different businesses to make that happen. So Windermere Lakes Cruises, then had to hide one, and we worked with them to make sure that they were putting it up on their social, and that kind of different things. Some collaborations have been unbelievably successful and others haven't. And we are going to be open with you and honest without naming any names and tell you the mistakes that we made, so that you don't have to make them as well. So the number one, yeah, can you see the board?
Just about, that's okay. Yeah.
Janet.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. That's good. You should have bought some PPE. It's all right. We've got the sanitizer, and we literally are bleached within an inch of our lives. Right. Okay. So the number. I'm just going to make sure I get my notes, because otherwise I'll give you this in all the wrong order. Lovely. Hang on. It's here. Here they are. Okay. So how do you know who to collaborate with? I think probably the first thing that you should do is check that you guys have similar values. So you will see people, you will have been out, we're doing things like this, we're all kind of getting ideas, aren't we? We're all thinking, oh, actually, it'd be really interesting if I picked up the phone and spoke to that person. I think before you rush on and send that email or, you know, pick up the phone, whatever it might be, follow them for a while. Watch them, check them out, and check out that you're, sorry, someone's just arriving. Lovely, Jan, I'm letting her in. Check that your values are in line with each other. It's really important that you do that at the beginning, and you can sense check that by just kind of, you can tell by the kinds of things that they will be saying. You can tell probably by the kinds of business that they are doing. Check to see what kind of posts they're putting up on their social media. Have a read on their website. You know, the amount of times that we've kind of wanted to go gung-ho into something, and then we've read something and thought, oh, actually, that doesn't really sit quite right with us. I think the first thing before you do anything is just make sure that your values are in line. That is just absolutely crucial. Hello, Jan, welcome. Hello, lovely to have you with us.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I had problems.
Could you hear us earlier?
No, I've just been able to get in now. But never mind, carry on. I can watch it later.
Lovely. It is being recorded, and it's lovely to have you with us. Jan, if you could just say your name and where you're from, that would be really helpful for the people in the room.
All right, I'm Jan Nicholson, and I'm from Kendal.
And you run a business?
I run a business, 2 businesses, Kendal Hostel with my daughter, and I'm also starting up a new business, Experience Lakeland, which is obviously gin and tonic, afternoon teas, and anything else to do with the Lakeland.
Brilliant. And is that sending people out to various places? Is that the idea?
Yeah, well, it's a new business, so I am a blue badge guide for Cumbrian, and I'm thinking that I thought a few years ago that, you know, people are not going to want to sit on a bus, they want to experience something. You don't sell a holiday, you sell an experience.
Cool. Well, if you want to pop the details in the chat, that would be absolutely fine, Jan. Thank you so much for just bringing us up to speed. So number one thing, before you want to collaborate with anyone, check that your values are in line. And like we said, so find out about them. Ask people, if anyone else you know has dealt with them, ask them about their experiences before you set off down any track. Do this first. Janet, would you like to talk us through number 2, which I have here for you? I'm going to mute me.
Is that working? Does that work, everybody? I'm not feeding back on you or anything like that. Hello, I've been really quiet, just talking away in the chat and eating cake as well, which was lovely. Thank you for my fabulous, fabulous plain big scone. I loved it. And I've demolished it. So, number 2 in our little rules of 5. We're whizzing through these because we really want to get to you guys. And as Sophie's already said, there's been so much going on already, and we can see loads of links already going on that we just want to get to and get on with that. But number 2, and these points are important, and a lot of it is common sense. You will already know a lot of this stuff, and some of you who have collaborated in the past will have already either done a lot of this stuff or learned from not having done a lot of this stuff. So number 2 is really setting out clear objectives in terms of what you want from the collaboration. And you need to be really honest about that, and you need to be really frank. There's no point in going in and thinking, I thought we were doing this. and the other side thinking, well, I thought we were doing that, and everybody gets a bit jumbled and a bit annoyed with each other halfway through it because you're not singing from the same song sheet. So work it out right from the start what it is that you are both looking for and be completely honest about it. If you're interested in making money out of the collaboration, bring that to the table. There's no shame in talking about that. And in fact, do talk about that. Get that one actually sorted out primarily, because it always becomes a big issue if you don't. For example, Andy and Zoe have just completely ripped us off. I'm joking. They would never do that. If you're looking to raise your profile in the community, the other side might be looking for, find out what the other side want. What does the people you're collaborating with, what do they want to get out of it? What do you want to get out of it? Make sure you both understand what that is, whether it's raising your profile in the community, whether it's prestige, whether it is money, as we said before, whether it's getting some more PR out of it, whatever it may be, bring all of your issues to the table and work out what each of you are going to be getting from it right from the very start. So once you sat down to have that collaboration conversation, work through what you're going to do in terms of your collaboration. Okay?
Cool.
I'm going to mute again.
Okay. Lovely. We're hoping that we're communicating clearly, and hopefully you can hear me again now. Hooray! Lovely. So it's absolutely crucial that you decide what it is that you are wanting to achieve from this collaboration. And I think something that we all kind of forget quite often in business is figure out how that is going to be measured. How are you going to know at the end of this whether that collaboration was or was not successful? And that might be completely different between you and your collaborator, however many there are. It might be that our measure for success is 10 attendees. It might be that their measure for success is 4,000 shares on social. You might have completely different goals, but make sure that you have that probably even written down as to what it is that you want to get out of the collaboration, so that later on you can check that. So number 3 then is who is doing what? What do you actually have to do within this collaboration? Is it something whereby it's, I'm going to tag you on social, you tag me on social? Or is there actually a bit more to it? And be really specific and be really open. Again, I mean, we're massive advocates of honest, open communication because it is what works. But have the chats. Make sure that you really fully understand your role, and make sure that whoever you're collaborating with really understands their role as well. Sometimes we've worked with social media influencers before, and whether they're being paid, sometimes people have offered to do stuff for some of our clients for free and things. We've always made sure that what they're going to do for us is really, really crystal clear. So, is it one tag on social media? Is it actually 50 tags? Are they going to do a blog? And sometimes our level of expectations have been different to what's then delivered. So just please, please, please make sure that you get that absolutely written down at the beginning, so that you fully understand what you're going to have to do and what they're going to have to do. I mean, for today's example, Zoe and Andy made all the cakes. They also made all the gin. And they also helped us with delivery. So they really did loads for this collaboration. But we made sure that they understood that we were going to be helping with the delivery as well. And we had that chat. We didn't just turn up today and go, oh, how are all the afternoon teas going to get to everyone? Are they just going to magically arrive at people's houses? No, we knew how that was going to happen, and we worked towards that, and we worked towards it together.
Except they nearly didn't arrive at yours and Janet.
Set out right at the very beginning. Okay. So that was number 3. Who is doing, was that nurse? Well, there we are, that was number 4. But because I can't count during COVID at all, it turns out. And I've had a gin. Who knows, how's this going? Hopefully fine. Okay, so who's doing what? Make sure that is absolutely set down. Yes. But yeah, you're right. Okay, so the number one, this one. Number 5. Last one. I've done 2 in 1, that's why, isn't it? I've done 2 in 1. I'm sorry, guys. I've witted.
I did think I'd missed zoned out.
Remember to communicate clearly. Don't witter like what I did. Very important. Very, very important. Money. which is within the communicate clearly. I'm just being absolutely straight, making sure that I'm getting this in the right order. Money. Sometimes we don't like to talk about it. In fact, as British people, it turns out that we really don't like talking about an awful lot of things out loud. We can be quite awkward, can't we? But this really is a big one. For example, this one, Andy and Zoe came back. We went to them with the idea. Andy and Zoe came back with the price and said, yeah, we'd be happy to do it for that. We went, that actually isn't enough. And said, no, I think you should charge us a bit more. But that is, you know, we have a good relationship, and we want the collaboration to work for both of us, because otherwise what's the point in it? And really that is something that you need to consider, is have the thorny money chat and have it early. And are you even going to charge? Sometimes there might be things where this is actually just a new relationship, where it might be a campaign that you're going to be running together on social media. It might be that you send someone your way and they're going to send someone theirs. Whichever way around it's going to be. It might be that money isn't going to change hands, but please, please, please have the chat to find out if that is something that is going to be the case, because the last thing you want to do is get to the end of it and someone sends you a whacking great bill, because that's awful. We had a terrible experience once, didn't we? We had a terrible, terrible experience with that. So just don't let it happen. Don't let it happen. Don't make the same mistakes as we did. We've come a long way in 3 years. We certainly have, haven't we? And I think at the beginning, we're quite positive folk. So we always try and see the best in people, but sometimes you can get burnt like that. So don't do it. Don't do it. Yes, so within communication, it's really important that if there's going to be any PRs sent out, if there's going to be any social sent out, if you're collaborating on something and we're mentioning someone, we make sure that they see what we're going to send out, because normally it's us doing that part of the gig. And vice versa. If someone else was doing that for us, we would want any copy, anything that's going to have our name on it. We want to make sure that we've got first sight of it as well before it goes out in the public domain. So please have that communicate clearly is also about your communications as well. Okay. Yes. Brilliant. Oh, Janet's adding. Yes, make sure that, yeah, simple things like have they remembered your logo? Or have you been completely missed off something? You know, that kind of really simple thing. Nothing can be more annoying than when you've put a load of time, effort, and probably money into something, and you thought your logo was going to be on it, and it's not. Whatever it might be, just really, really check that stuff. And if you share that stuff and are having those chats as you go through, then that really helps. Especially if you're dealing with a larger company. Especially, you know, if you're dealing with a larger company, your value is as important. And if you're trying to, it might be that you're not trying to get money out of it, but you're trying to get more prestige, you're trying to get brand recognition through your collaboration. So if what you're really wanting to see is your logo next to Nike, that's, you know, make sure that that is on there, and is that part of the contract, whether it be verbal or written, just make sure that that is all absolutely crystal clear. Brilliant. Okay, so those are our rules for collaboration. Hopefully you can see them. Are they tricky to see? Can you see? We will share them with you.
Bottom bit of the last one.
We will share them with you. Yeah. Okay. No one can hear you, Janet. Janet's been giving you some wonderful advice, enhancing everything I've just been saying, backing me up 100%, and giving you lots of value, but you couldn't hear any of it. What she was saying, I will unmute me and let you hear.
I'm so sorry. I put most of what I said in the chat. I'm so used to actually just being able to chip in whenever Soap's talking that I keep forgetting that I'm actually on mute, and so I'm just moving my mouth a lot and nothing's being heard. Basically, what I want to say was in the chat, and the ex-lawyer in me, if you're dealing with Nike or anybody of that kind of size, for the love of God, get a proper contract and take it to a proper legal person and get them to check that you really are going to actually have your logo on there, rather than just be that tiny person in the background who did all the work and got none of the prestige. So just be careful. It's very easy to get stung. The other thing I was saying was, we will, A, it's being recorded, but B, we'll put that onto a Word document and share it with you. It was just the 5 very basic rules of collaboration. It looks from the screen behind me that no one can see any of it, but we'll share it with you in a Word document. And we are, again, pretty much bang on time. We're 3 minutes past 3, so we are going to go over to you. Who are we going to go with first? I'm going to mute myself again.
Okay. I shall unmute me and I shall unpin Janet's big video. Hopefully there you can see the screen nice and big. There we go, lovely. I'm going to unpin that for now and we will reshare that with you as we said. Okay, so what we would like to do, and I'm glad that we've got a room full of lovely open-minded people. What we would like to do is just spend about 5 minutes with each of you, digging in a little bit further into what it is that you're looking for and adding in some ideas. So this is the kind of thing that we quite often will do for clients. Now, normally we do this over the space of hours of meetings and Zooms and, you know, more gin even than this sometimes. So this is a short, sharp little injection of potential creative collaborations that you could do in your business. And I am going to pick on, to start with, Craig at Let Me Stay. Okay, you unmute yourself, please, Craig.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Can we hear you?
Can you hear me?
I can't. Oh, hang on. Can everyone else hear him?
Yeah.
That's great. I couldn't. I'd muted my computer, which was very smart. Brilliant. Thank you, Craig. Okay, so you were talking before about kind of wanting to connect further with the local community and add sort of experiences to the offering that you give to your guests.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're noticing that people are booking longer stays at the moment as well. So it's kind of, you know, yes, they can go walking, we can advise on routes and that kind of stuff, but they're going to want to do more with their time. If things aren't going to be open so much, it'd be great for us to kind of direct, oh, you should go and do this. We've done this. It's really good. Sorry about that. And just getting, yeah, exactly. Just trying to build sort of experiences or added value that not only stands us out from the crowd a little bit, so actually they actually care, hence the name Let Me. We wanted the business to always remain personal, really. And yeah, and like you say, collaborate with other people who are like very interested. You have to have similar values, need to be like-minded. All of our properties are, you know, a good quality. We're quite mindful of who we work with, even in terms of our owners of the properties that we manage. We always want that relationship to be really strong, and they get what we're doing as well as we understand what they want to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to do the same with our collaborators in terms of experiences and any added value we can add to the guests, really, that's staying with us.
Where have you looked? Have you started looking for anything in particular? Or
well, no, not really. I mean, we've always looked at, I think events is obviously, you know, not events, but experiences in terms of, you know, I actually did some work for Cumbrian Crystal once in Augustin, so obviously, you know, maybe would work with somebody like that once if they have their glass blowing experiences back in, especially, you know, kind of push people to a different area of the Lake District as well. Of the outdoor events, kind of, you know, could we do guided tours, guided walks? Could we do an itinerary where it picks up, I don't know, going on Windermere Lake cruises, then going somewhere else? So kind of a trip, kind of, okay, this day you can do that, and just give a concierge, I suppose. So I've got plenty of people I'd like to work with. It's just how you set that up and how you go about it in a professional manner, I suppose. And like you say, get it right from the outset so it works for both parties, rather than just having a bit of a conversation. Oh yeah, we could do this together, and then never really comes to anything.
Okay. Well, I think actually you've hit on something that is really important. I think sometimes we do kind of know who we'd like to work with, and then you can go through that checklist, you know, make sure that your values are in place. But when you've thought, yes, I think I would like to do something with that person, how do you approach them? How do you find the right person, and how do you kick it off, I guess? I think that's something perhaps that we can help people with. It sounds great. So yeah, network, make yourself known. If you're a smaller fish and you're trying to, you know, hook onto a bigger fish, as it were, networking is really important. And then leveraging, God, I sound horrible, don't I? But then leveraging people within that network to help you find the right person. So I think that's actually something that should be on your list. Please make sure that you're dealing with the right person. So find the right person that it is at Windermere Lakes Cruises. It's probably Jen. for what you're talking about. It's probably Jen that you would need to speak to, and it's just understanding the kind of nuances of the different people's roles within an organisation. If anyone, get yourselves on LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn, that actually is a annoyingly helpful resource. It's somewhere I used to avoid like the plague, to be honest with you. I was all about Twitter and all the rest of it, but LinkedIn is, Janet's on it. Janet has taken the words out of my mouth, out of my mind even, before I've even said them, and pop them in there. It is really important to professionals. If you're looking at some of these collaborations, it can be a good, it's a nice place to make an approach as well. I think don't ever jump in there with a sales pitch or with a collaboration, immediate collaboration idea. Watch them, get to know them, comment on their posts, get them to see and recognize your name before you then pick up the phone or pick up, send that approach email or message or however it is that you want to do that. Certainly for things like journos and that kind of stuff, Twitter actually is quite a good place for you to contact them as well. But again, make yourself known, comment, retweet, share their stuff, and then get involved. I think it's don't be overly salesy. Remember that it's, you've got to build that rapport before you make the approach. Okay, Craig, does that help answer your question about how to do that a bit?
That's great. Yeah, definitely. It's just trying to, getting that, not courage, but you know what I mean, just to get on and do it, but do it in the right way. And I think you're right. It's don't jump straight in and dive in. Right, I want to work with them and send an email. I don't think it works, does it? Like you say, you've got to build that relationship first. And I suppose using a couple of mechanisms like that would be great.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Craig. Janet is going to jump in. I'm going to mute me.
Sorry, Craig, I'm typing away in the chat there and mentioning various things. I think ideas like Windermere Lake Cruises are brilliant, and Soph's actually absolutely right. Jen is the right person to speak to if you were to approach them. But remember, they're very, very, very big fish. Are they the 5th most visited place in the UK or something ridiculous? So they have a lot of footfall already, and without having any disrespect for Windermere Lake Cruises, because they do a great job, they don't necessarily need to collaborate with the smaller businesses, if you like. You might be better off putting your energy, and remember their Twitter feed and all their social media feeds are huge, and lots of things get swamped. There's a lot of things they just don't see. So you might be better off putting your energy into someone who's a little bit smaller. You were talking about experientials, and Braithwaite Adventures might be a great sort of place to link up with, because the kind of things they're doing, if you're picking up people in self-catering, chances are you might be picking up a stag weekend or, God forbid, a hen weekend. Nobody wants to go on one of those. And they are looking for different things to fill their weekends when we are going to come to you, Sarah. But, things like Shed 1 and going to one of their Shed 1 afternoon G&Ts would be ideal for someone. You mentioned Cumbria Crystal. We know Chris Blade very, very well. And he is always crying out for people to come and do his glass blowing and shout about it and send groups up there. So all I'm saying is that there are lots of good-sized companies don't necessarily jump straight to the Nike level, which is kind of where I'd almost put Windermere Lake Cruises, because they've already got so much love and they don't need us in the most loveliest way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
Can I just jump in quickly? Sorry. Can I just dive in?
Cool, great.
So, Craig,
lovely. I'm going to come to.
Can I just jump in?
Very exciting. Sorry. Vivian Pike.
Oh, she's not listening.
We'll catch up later, Nick.
Yeah, okay, don't worry. She's not listening to me.
Yourself, my love.
Nick just wanted to say something. Nick.
So if you're not listening. She's turned herself off again.
Oh, it's me again. It's me.
Then she's done it again. Sorry, I'm just saying, can I very quickly hop in? No, Craig, when I was, with my guest house hat on, we're looking at certain things, and we did things with Windermere Lake Cruises, and Janet's exactly right, that they don't need to work with the little guys, and that's not meant nastily or anything like that. But what they might do is, because we used to do a package for people who arrive like that, an afternoon tea, lake cruise, etc., and put a package there, they will just give you discount vouchers. So basically, you can say to your customers, right, we've got a relationship with Windermere Lake Cruises. Here's 10% off. This is cheaper than you going and buying your ticket down at the jetties. So you're still giving something back, but then the bigger ones do things like that. So it's definitely worth getting in touch. And we used to just get a massive bundle of either discount vouchers, or you can buy a discounted ticket, which gives it a bit more personal from you. So then they know that they're getting something back.
Brilliant. That's great. Thanks, Nick.
Well, lovely. Vivian Pike. Let's have a moment with you. I know it's a bit strange at the moment because you can't open, but tell me a little bit more. So do the families pay you guys to go around and like you say, provide company, take people out on walks, that kind of thing?
Yeah, we aren't carers and we offer no care whatsoever. And we are working with a local home instead manager, actually, where he obviously can offer the care, but not a couple of hours to take somebody out. It hasn't got the time. And so, yeah, we're just looking for making the children probably more aware that we are there and we can help alleviate the guilt, alleviate kind of the time pressures, and give their mum or their dad a lovely trip out. And obviously, some of our clients have the early stages of dementia, and it's lovely to see the difference. You pick them up and they're really, really sad, and they're in a sad place. And by the time they come back, they're in a really, really happy place. And that keeps them going for the next couple of days. So, and all our trips, and we do lots of different things, but the one that majority of them like is just literally going, seeing them, having a chat, getting in the car, going, seeing some beautiful countryside. If they are able to get in and out of the car easily, to go into a garden centre where they have small shops to go and look at gifts and have a cup of tea. They would love that scone that I've just eaten, because they all love scones and tea. So it's that really. So we work quite closely with a couple of solicitors who deal with the elderly, and I've worked with one of them for a long time when I used to work for the Chamber of Commerce. So again, it is building up that relationship that he can see that he trusts our service. I mean, obviously all our companions are all enhanced DBS checks and all got their insurance and everything, but he can see the difference in the package that we can offer.
So do you find most of do you call them service users, customers, clients?
I tend to call them clients, and then you have commissioners. So you've got clients that we take out, but the commissioners are either solicitors or the children that say, Mum, this is a really good idea, I'm going to sort it for you. And it could be that they have power of attorney themselves and they just use their parents' money to pay for it. It's not necessarily a gift from the child, but it's just saying to the mum or the dad, come on, you sat there, let's get something organised. It doesn't work if you speak to the little old lady and you go and have a cup of tea with her, because she'll say, oh, I'll think about it, and it never goes anywhere. So it really is trying to get out to the children or a solicitor that actually has the power of attorney.
Okay, so solicitors has obviously been a good area for you. Are you just Kirby Lonsdale, or you
we're actually South Lakes and Morecambe Hewsham, but we're actually in the process of franchising. And we have got 2 people that are interested when we come out of this of buying a franchise. So in lockdown, what we've been able to do is put our marketing plan together for Just Company Morecambe Bay, for when we come out to build Morecambe Bay, but also to get everything in place for franchising. So we are also looking for somebody in Windermere area to maybe possibly buy a franchise and run Just Company in Windermere area. And I've got a message for Janet to say that she's being missed from her other meeting. John says you're being missed.
Oh, you're being missed, Joe. You're being missed. Well, no, it's all right. It's all right. Joe, they want to hear your voice. They want to hear your voice, Mum. Yeah. Okay, so I think collaboration really is important for you, and I guess building new networks then with other solicitors and in the key areas that you're looking at is something that you think about.
Yeah, collaborating with solicitors is something easier because obviously it could be an added value to what they have to offer. With wealth managers, it's because they have access to our audience who make the decisions, or who can make the financial decisions. So it's the kind of collaborating is more with the solicitors, I guess. The networking is with wealth managers.
I think as well, Janet's popped in the chat there, so some of the places that people like to go to, they will want more of your kind of clients coming.
Yeah.
So perhaps having some conversations there, obviously getting to know them and all the rest of it, but having some conversations with those places, even simple things like, are you able to put up leaflets and leave some flyers? And
exactly, which is what we have in several cafes and garden centres. But again, it's actually the garden centre is full of old people wandering around, and though they're not our target market. Yes, I had thought about that, Janet, about an event with solicitors, and I've got a venue in Kirby to do it, and had thought about doing it. But it's a case of when is the best time to organise it. And previously we weren't in a financial situation to organise it, although now possibly the solicitors could do it via Zoom, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Pulling the kind of people that you want together in one space, and positioning yourself professionally and politely and all the rest of it is a really good way for you to do that. You might be right. It might be better to leave it till the other side. A Zoom might work for that, but if you're going for people that you've never met before, perhaps waiting and doing it.
I think people want something to eat, don't they?
We love something to eat.
So yeah, we have thought that, and we had kind of sort of planned it. So, but it just then didn't take off. But I have got a venue, a private house in Kirby, which probably has the best view in Kirby Lonsdale. And it's a very, very close friend of mine who said I can do whatever I like. And she's very close to several of the solicitors that we work with. So yeah, an event possibly.
We love one. I think when you're doing that, make sure you have nice invitations. Think about all of the tiny different details that go into that are going to show off your company in the best possible way as well. Make sure that you go all the way back before you just jump straight into the event.
Yeah.
Janice is going to unmute.
Sorry, Vivian. I was just I can't type as fast as my brain works. But when I was talking about things like the garden centres, I was thinking more along the lines of not so much putting up leaflets, and that's great. But like you say, garden centres were full of old people who aren't necessarily your customer base. What I was more sort of thinking was more of a promotional campaign whereby you collaborate with them, and you take one of your what did you call them, clients out for afternoon tea and cakes, and there's a 50% discount, or only yours is paid for, theirs isn't, type thing. And that's the garden centre who then picks up that tab. So it was more that kind of thing, to say that they're working with Just Company to work with elderly people who need some time out of the house. And on a Wednesday afternoon, they can come and have tea and cakes for free. You pay for yours, they don't pay for theirs. Quiet times would be quite nice. Quiet times would be really nice for that kind of thing. That's kind of where I was going with that one. And just very quickly, going back to the solicitors and things, absolutely an event in Kirby would be great. But your network is spreading all the time. You and John are everywhere, which is brilliant. Get yourself really profiled on LinkedIn. Get yourself up there. Put some of your little stories on that are going on. Obviously, there's client confidentiality and all that sort of stuff. But you guys spread over to this end quite a lot, and there are lots of listeners at this end who do wills, power of attorney, trust and probate, and all the people who are your target market. So get into their networks as well. I'm thinking Nathans, Progression solicitors. They're all over LinkedIn. Talk to them. I'm probably some of the rules we were talking about earlier on.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know if there's a professional network?
Okay, let's go with Ellen. Come on, Ellen, let's hear from you.
Right, okay. Gosh, I'm not the best speaker in the world, so do bear with me. Basically I'm a graphic designer, and I provide a service really, so it's quite hard. I'm not selling anything as such or anything like that. So I always find it hard to try and get across who I can actually work with on bigger things and things like that. It's a case of like I can help people promote their businesses and through my graphic design skills, using illustration, and like if there's any events that people are doing, create all the artwork for that, the branding, and even take on providing the print, and I do a lot of digital media stuff as well in terms of artwork for any like social media platforms. If you want to promote anything, try and promote it in the right way, so artwork sits in the right place, so especially like with cover images and things like that, that you don't miss any important information off, and that it looks correct on like responsive on mobiles and iPads as well as on desktops. So yeah, and I use, like as I say, publications is one of my strengths. I used to project manage publications as well as design them, and organise the print with them and everything like that. So
I think with services like yours, Ellen,
yeah,
it can feel quite tricky collaborating, I guess. One of the things that we found previously is create kind of a power team. So if you've got, it's hard, if you do everything, then sometimes it can feel, you know, well, I don't want to give that bit of something away because I do that bit. But I think creating a power team can be really helpful in this kind of in your line of work. So do you build webs? Do you do the web build or just the web design?
I'll work with a web designer builder to make sure that the branding that I've produced you know, is all consistent, and you know, come up with ideas of how it can be executed and the look and feel of it, but I don't actually do the programming side. So I've done a lot of that.
And do you have a good, it sounds silly, I mean, finding someone who is really good at that side of things, who you know you can trust with the brands that you're creating, and potentially even monetize that. So you could incentivize the web, you know, a trusted web builder to recommend you, incentivize him monetarily. I've called him a him, could well be a girl, and vice versa. So if you pass him some work and he passes you some work, I think kind of sometimes formalizing that a bit more can create a stronger collaboration. And then, you know, you could work that again with the power team. You know, is that a photographer? If it's product photography, it might be Ian. If it's people photography, it might be Vix. Have some more formal conversations and tighten up that collaborative element. And because in that case, you're going to be more likely to get more work from each other. That's something that we've done with a few people, where, you know, we pass leads back essentially between whenever it turns into something, then happy days. Rather than just favour for favour and hoping that if they do this, then I'll do that. I think sometimes formalising an agreement like that can be useful. It doesn't have to be big bucks or anything, but no,
it's right. And to be honest, actually, it's funny you should say that, because I have started to build a good relationship with a web builder who actually has got a design eye, which I've struggled to find before, because it's not all, but a lot of the web builders, sometimes they can make them work fantastically, but actually the look and feel of it is quite as much as important as anything. It's like a book cover, you won't pick it up sometimes if it doesn't look appealing to the eye to want to. So I've started to do that, so that, you know, that maybe should push that a little bit more.
I think it can. Some of it sounds really obvious, doesn't it? But I do think that kind of thing can be really quite helpful. So I hope that helps, Ellen.
No, that's really good. Thank you.
It's a total cop out of an answer, but it's something that we've done and we know actually works.
No, it's all valuable. You know, it's not my comfort zone, like speaking out loud to everybody. So in a way, I'm making myself be a bit more out there. So thank you very much.
Brilliant. And if you don't know Ellen, you should check her out. And she's also she's hilariously punny. Check her out on LinkedIn. Absolutely superb. You've done a lot of great work for big outdoors companies as well, haven't you? A lot in the outdoor field. Look at me an outdoor field.
Yeah,
I spend my time inside houses.
Yeah, no, I will just say one thing, but I did do the International Mountain Running Youth Cup, which was supposed to happen in June in Ambleside, which was a whole weekend event, which sadly has been put on hold till September, whether that goes ahead or not.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
fingers crossed. Oh, I'm unmuting.
Only thing I wanted to add was basically to just reiterate what Soph said in terms of you're doing great on your social media platforms.
Okay.
I know it's not your comfort zone, but
no, it's not.
Yourself out there, and you're getting more and more likes and more engagement. I am watching you, so it's all going on. So well done.
Thank you. That's lovely.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Okay, Paul Helm.
Hello.
Okay, so you were talking before about this kind of community of creative talent.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an Ellen in the room, there's a Vix in the room, there's an Ian in the room. Those guys all kind of play into that. There's even a Flock in the room and a Sarah in the room. In a way, we all kind of are in the creative industry. How would you envisage your collaboration kind of going forward? What's the kind of the ultimate goal? How would you see that working?
Well, the ultimate goal for us is without completely taking you off track. What I'm trying to do is, I retired 5 years ago, got bored to tears, and came back and created this side of the business we're on now. My goal is to create a business which is self-sustaining, which provides an opportunity for my family, because the kids the lads both work for me, but also we do a lot of STEM related work stuff with schools and universities. We want to try and get lots of people into opportunities to start employment in some of the fields, both technical as well as creative. On the creative side, quite often we've had to try and develop things ourselves because we are self-funded, and it's extremely difficult to drag yourself up by your shoestrings, but we are trying to do that. Where my goal is on the upstream side of our business, which is the content creation, is to try and create a mechanism by which we can reach out to a community of individuals and small businesses and work with them content, part of which we could actually bring out through our gaming or our technology business. And that will offer opportunities on the lifestyle and entertainment side, but also on the corporate side as well, because most of our background is with corporate business. So, as I say, it's early days for us because we weren't into gaming up until 3 months ago. But what I've learned in trying to teach myself 3D modeling, I mean, I even did logo design. I'm not even going to put them up on the screen. The challenge, of course, is because we haven't got the money at the moment to spend with people. So there is opportunities on that score. What we are already doing now is collaborating with some people who are friends of my sons, who are based in Switzerland, in Norway, in America, who are keen gamers, who are our beta testers. And I've actually given them VR headsets to actually test out all of our technology. So what I'm trying to do is to create this idea of giving new opportunities to people on the upstream side, not just with us, but if they can get into this side of the business, then they can work in a much, as it develops further, other opportunities will come from it. So I was firing a message out there saying, things like, if we could just create something called Lakes TV, think about what it would be like if we put online streaming up of the Lake District and all of its capabilities, and all of the people on here got an opportunity to create content and put it on there if they wish, or work with other people on here to put content on there so that they can essentially promote their businesses as one of the reasons why you want to come to the lakes. We can do bits of that, but we can't do all of it. So I'm keen to see what we can do just to corral all the brain power out there, because I don't think it's being done. If there's nothing in it for our business, I haven't got a problem with that, to be honest with you. But I do see that there are real opportunities if we can start to table some ideas together and see where we go from there. I mean, I could easily fill the rest of your time, but I won't. I'd like to say though, Sarah, one of the things that I heard from you when you were talking about the corporate work you did in terms of team building exercises, over the next 18 months, there's a great opportunity to take the know-how you have, mix it with the collaborative VR stuff that we have, so people can still do team building exercises. That was always one of our target markets for what we're trying to do. And just to give you a little spin on that, one of the big challenges that Kimberly-Clark, GSK, BAE Systems have got at the moment is in recruiting new apprentices. The challenge is they're having to do all the interviews online like this, but they usually go through an exercise of getting those people to go through problem-solving exercises individually and collaboratively to see if they can work in a team. Can't do that now. So there's this year and potentially into next year, they're struggling to do those kind of initiative. If you can offer a service to them, allow them to do that kind of thing, there is a small opportunity there for that kind of knowledge to be brought to bear in terms of helping the bigger businesses in the area. Now, I know I've just gone from the question that Soph asked me to the point I wanted to make, but then I have been through media training, and so I do know that you never answer the question that you're asked. You always just basically bridge to the point you're trying to make. So my apologies for that one, Soph. But I did want to just throw a few of these things out. I'm just a naturally collaborative type of person. I love working with people. I love working with brilliant people. And I seem to be coming across quite a few of them through this network. So I'll lay it out there. This is the sort of thing we do. There are 40 job types that go into building games. And these are everything from the creative side to sound design to the technology aspects to computer networking. There's loads and loads. There's 3 of us in our company currently doing that. And quite frankly, I am too old to learn anything else. My brain is full, and I really would like someone else to come in and sort of see opportunities and want to pick up some of this stuff and start to work with us. So I'm sorry if I kind of subverted the question. Well, no, I'm not sorry. I just do these things anyway. So
that's why we love you.
You better move on to someone else now, quick.
I have to, Paul. I'm going to have to. I think you've answered your own questions as well. I think certainly there is a big gap in Cumbria around the creative and digital conversation. I think there are pockets of it happening in all kinds of different places, but it doesn't feel that there is momentum behind that. And that might well be something that you and me can have a conversation with, offline about that and how we can, collaborate a bit harder as a county.
I would love to.
Make that kind of thing happen.
I really would. And I'm not going to point fingers, but there are some large organisations that have responsibility for these kind of things, and quite frankly, they lack imagination, inspiration, or ambition around digital, around technology in Cumbria. And historically, as a county, we were really, really good at these things. And I'm going back now 30, even 40 years. We were technologically one of the leading counties in terms of spinning out new businesses. And in terms of the creative content, the number of filmmakers that lived in the Lake District, they were everywhere. And quite frankly, we should do it again. But nobody, I'm a DIY person. I'm not going to wait for somebody else to try and come up with all this kind of stuff. We'll do our little bit in the corner. We'll throw it out there for other people. Happy to work with you. And I absolutely take on board all of the points on Janet's board there. I've been through that. I've worked with the big companies. I've had them completely rip me off. I've had situations where we've lost intellectual property and in the understanding that we were going to go something. Quite honestly, I should be old enough now to understand the challenges, but I keep falling over the same trap. So it's really, really important, I think, to re-emphasize those points.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Paul. Sarah, I think I'm going to come to you next, because some of what Paul was saying in terms of the VR and that kind of thing, I wonder if there's that, but how else can we help?
Yes, there is. It's a difficult thing, Paul, because I'll just touch on that briefly, but obviously a lot of events companies that design and deliver team building events in-house or are already looking for partners of the likes of Wild Goose, for example. They organise an awful lot of treasure hunts and iPad-based treasure hunts, but they've obviously moved quite rapidly with the times currently. So in terms of development, Paul, you need to be quick, because I think it's in danger of being quite swamped in some areas, because lots of companies, events companies, where the majority of their services are currently on stall, then they are looking to diversify.
Of course.
Now. Yeah. So that's and quite frankly, because we've sort of looked at Graithwaite as a product as part of our business that we want to take forward, we've probably not concentrated on those VR events ourselves in the last 3 months, just because we've not had time, or it's just been a different focus. And it wouldn't be something that we'd obviously want to partner with somebody on it anyway. But if I do hear anything, then obviously I'll pass it your way if there's any opportunities. Most of it goes over my head personally, so I delegate that to Tim in terms of the technical side of the events. But in terms of Graithwaite Adventure, I think probably in terms of collaboration and what we're trying to do is, you know, we've worked closely with CT for a number of years. We partnered recently, a year ago actually, with Lakeland. They launched their customer reward scheme last August, and they wanted, as a member of my Lakeland partners, to work with them so that they could offer benefits and rewards to their customers. So that's a good example of a collaboration locally. And we did all those things that you mentioned, Janet, in terms of, you know, making sure that they had the same values, and it was sort of you know, the right fit for where we wanted to pitch ourselves. And obviously it was a reciprocal thing, and the communication was clear, and we came up with a product that was unique to my Lakeland members. But moving forwards, I think our focus, we're going to have, or we have got, separate areas of the business: corporate training, product launches, film and TV, logistics. But in the leisure market, which, you know, is a relatively new market for us, my goal, I suppose, is to make sure that we're the place that everybody says, I want to go and have an experience of doing something in the outdoors, in the lakes. Where do I go? And I want Graithwaite Adventure to be the answer. So it's just reaching out to
do you know who might be quite cool for you to link up with? It's outdoor clothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a fantastic boots company. I mean, there's Innovate in Staveley as well, who do the fell running shoes.
Yes.
There's Keswick Boot Co. in Keswick. Yeah. You'll know them. Yeah. But that kind of, I guess, kind of thinking a little bit broader in terms of some partners that might work for you. If outdoor clothing, it's an outdoor thing that you're doing. Is that I don't know, maybe do some digging around that. I think that could work if they, you know, buy your boots here and take them out over there, and whatever it might be. Or if you get a jacket, it's 10% off this jacket if you've come from Graithwaite Estates, and vice versa. I can see something like that working, as certainly if they're your market. As well, people who like to be outside. Yeah,
and it's that's good. And we've done a couple of you know, shared projects previously, but I think what we need to do is make sure that, you know, holiday cottages, hotels, bed and breakfast, so that people sort of know about Graithwaite Adventure when they're here, but it's also part of their decision making of choosing to come to South Lakes because it's handy for Graithwaite, or even helping them make a decision of whether do I choose Yorkshire Dales or do I choose Cumbria and the Lake District, and being part of those decisions to come.
I guess it's similar things as to Windermere Lakes cruises. So, you know, can you do those discount vouchers for the local B&Bs and that kind of thing, and building up those partnerships? WLC spent years and years and years doing it, and I'm sure you'll know the gang there, won't you, through CT. And I mean, you're no stranger to making a collaboration work. So I'll be really interested, and we'll watch. And if you need any help with anything, just some creative input, then you know where we are.
Yeah. Thank you.
Keep up the good work. I think Graithwaite's gonna just fly and fly, to be honest with you. It's in such a fantastic place, and you know what you're doing.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, Jay's popped in the chat, outdoor influencer type. So yeah, don't forget the social media people. So yeah, we've worked with them before. Some have been more successful than others. I think really the key is do your homework, find out who their market really is. It's not sometimes just a numbers game. Sometimes the influencer with the biggest amount of people might not be the right person. Sometimes it's like, you know, got 5,000 audience, but they on there every single word, they hang on their every word, that they buy a pair of boots. then they will go and buy those pair of boots. Janet's all over. She's like, what about Helen Skelthwaite? It's not Skelthwaite. Helen Skelthwaite, Matt from the One Show. All these kind of, let's get them down and experiencing it. Actually, the One Show are surprisingly easy to get hold of. So pitch to them if you've got something to say, and if you know as you get towards opening up. Julia Bradbury, it's all kicking off. Remember, Beeb can't promote anything, so be careful with your BB presenters. But I don't underestimate the power of the influencer, and have a bit of a look. You might have to pay someone sometimes to do something, but it can be a really good one. Right, we're starting to run out of time, and I was really feared that we would do this, and I'm going to try not to. Nick has had his hand up for bloody ages, and I've messaged him and everything and said, yeah, I'm coming to you.
And I've messaged you saying, I've got my hand up. So really, really quick, I've got 2 questions. I was going to ask this to Sarah when it's her turn anyway. Obviously, for me, with Ravensworth hat on, and Matt with Elder Grove, and then Craig with his customers as well. Do you do individual events? So let's say I've got a couple here who are up for the weekend and want to do something. I can obviously send them down to you potentially, but you might not want to do archery clay pigeon for 2 people, for instance. Or do you do like a time slot where me, Matt, and Craig can say, right, Graithwaite have got clay pigeon shooting on 3 o'clock on Saturday. There's 20 places available. I send 2, Matt sends 2, etc. Things like that. Is that something that you've thought about or are running?
About 80% of our business is leisure.
Yeah.
And the average group size is somewhere between 4 and, or lots of couples, but 4 and 6 or 8, 2 families. So yeah, a lot of it is leisure business. People that are staying locally, bed and breakfast, hotels. We say sort of minimum of 2. So they could just come for a clay pigeon shooting or a 1-hour 4x4 driving experience. Some of them multi-activity, so we tailor the experience to suit. We're not on site all the time, obviously, you know, but sort of based in Keswick. So booking in advance is essential. So we sort of fit in. It's a very personal experience in terms of arranging when they come. We're open 7 days a week, closed Christmas Day and Boxing Day. So yeah, for holiday makers already here, then yeah, very much, as I say, about 70 to 80% of our business last year was leisure.
Okay, so I mean, obviously for you, I mean, for us, we could very easily send it 2, but you don't really want to do something for 2 people. I'm sure you'd much prefer to do for 10, something like that. Or do you have that option available? Because when I first came up here, I used to run a corporate events company. We came up here and we were doing this kind of thing, and we just found it was just so much legwork for so little return. We stopped doing it for the 2 people going to do archery for an hour kind of thing. So it's just whether you have a group availability to people to join into. I get the fact that some people like the exclusivity, but is there an option of having a 3 o'clock time slot for something, and then a group of B&Bs, guest houses, etc., trying to fill it for you?
Everything we do is an exclusive experience.
Okay.
So we don't, you know, if you and Cheryl wanted to come 4x4ing, you wouldn't see anybody else. It would be an exclusive offering. So that's how we sort of differ from joining a group of 5 or 6 other kayakers on a session on the other side of the lake, for example. So no, as I say, quite a lot of our business, more than 50% of our business is for groups of 2s, 4s, or 2 families on holiday together. So a lot of it is small numbers, that exclusivity, yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Might be quite cool, Sarah. You could potentially pick some B&Bs and hotels that you want to work with and invite them down so that they get a really good understanding of the offering.
Yeah.
You could, do that as a one-off event, or over a series in the quiet time, and get them to understand what you're about, so that then those relationships that you build are going to be stronger. Right, sorry guys, I'm going to keep on rolling. Right, oh my life. Zoe and Andy.
What do you want?
You all right?
Yeah, we're fine. We're fine.
Good, glad. Let's move on. No, collaboration is something that you guys have done a lot of, and with the weddings coming up, what would be helpful?
Well, you may have seen, apologies for us looking distracted earlier on. It's because yet again we were asked for the local Mail to write for them to put an article in the paper, and this time I said, you are not writing anything until it's been utterly edited and proofed.
Yeah, we were going to have a chat with you about that. They dropped us an email and said, can you send us some stuff about and we were like, well, we better chat with Andy and Zoe about that first.
So just another thing, because it is a kind of collaboration, is the media. And I think sometimes we go, oh, brilliant, somebody's going to write something, that's great. Always read it, never allow, for the last year, we've kind of said, if we can't proof it, you can't publish it. We want nothing to do with it. Because it is amazing how much wrong information can go out there. And it's I'm not saying that we've been damaged by it, but we've had to explain things. We've had to say, no, that's not true, that this isn't, and it could be damaging. So I would say another big rule, whatever's being written about you by whoever, make sure that you are controlling it. Absolutely.
That is absolutely crucial. You're spot on. You're spot on. Thanks, guys. I'm going to do Victoria. Oh no, go on.
Just to very quickly say about all the weddings and everything, one of the things we're going to be doing is that on the website, and when people ask, we are going to have a list of people that we recommend for people to go to, so we can build relationships. You know, Vic and us, we know each other really, really well. We know her photographs are beautiful. We've seen other people's stuff, caterers, musicians, whatever it be, Graithwaites, accommodations, all of that sort of thing. And we want to build a list of local stuff, because part of Shed One is being local. And so we can then say to people, use that, go there, come and do this, etc. So we just like collaborating with people that we like, and thankfully, apart from the press, we've managed to do.
Laura, you need to go and make gin there, and Zoe and Andy, you need to get down to Graithwaite. I think that for me is
that sort of thing's brilliant.
That would make perfect sense, because the wedding venue is going to be for about 30, isn't it? So it's going to be quite an exclusive thing. So I can see that working really nicely, and we will. Oh yeah, we were going to work with you guys, weren't we, as well, Shed One? One of the big collaborations we were going to do was to work with the press, ironically, but we were working on a lot of other businesses in Ulverston, so we were creating a full package, an experiential package that had Cumbria Crystal in, Shed One gin, a fabulous little cafe in Ulverston, all kinds of different things, and accommodation, to create something that was more appealing than one of those things on their own. So that
for the journalists to come and see.
Exactly. So if you are you're trying to get some press or whatever it might be, working with other people can make that your offering just so much more interesting, and it's great to see that so many of you are believers of that as well.
And we will come back to that one day. And I'm definitely going to have to go in the next 5 minutes. This has been absolutely fabulous. And I do hope, I noticed nobody's died, so I think we haven't poisoned anybody. Phew. Hope you've all enjoyed it. Andrew will probably be hanging on for a bit longer, but really love to see all of you again, and I hope that all our paths cross. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zoe. Thank you
very much.
See you amazing Jim in the afternoon tea, and Angel. They are honestly.
Thank you.
They're the best. If you ever get a chance to work with Shed One, just do it. They are just A1 at everything that they do. Yeah, go to Cumbria Crystal and go and get drunk and make gin in the shed. It's brilliant. It's perfect. And Ulverston's such a cracking town, actually, that's sadly sometimes overlooked. And it shouldn't be. Right, I'm really aware that we are running out of the allotted time. If anyone is, we've got 4 left to go, possibly 5, in fact. What we will do is we will absolutely, as long as everyone is okay, we will share contact details with each other. Great, you're on it. So if anyone does need to dash off, then that is fine. We understand. But if anyone is desperate to go next, then please put your hand up next. Oh, Nick.
It's just very quick. I was going to ask 2 questions before, but I'm fine with getting into it. But I just want to ask a quick question to Paul, because this might, again, relate to Matt and Craig and even Sarah as well. The virtual escape rooms that you mentioned, how are they going to physically work? Because one thing that B&Bs and guest houses always think about, especially during the winter or on a rainy day, is that what can we do when it rains in the Lake District? And if the equipment could be in potentially my guest house, Matt's, everything that we could book our slots from here. So how is that going to work?
Very, very quickly, the version we made originally was designed to do exactly what you just described. It works in what known as an arcade mode.
Yeah.
So basically, it just you pop the headsets on, you go into the thing, it runs for an hour or 45 minutes, however we put the timing on it. At the end of which people are told, it has a little tutorial at the beginning, so it teaches people how to use VR. At the end of which it terminates, they take the headsets off, and then basically the next group come in. You can use sanitizers on the headsets and the like. We also have a mode where you can have a games master monitoring what they're doing. So if they get stuck, you can go in and help them. You can have them all in the same physical space, physical room, or they can be in separate rooms. They can be on one site, multiple sites. Maybe we
guys
pick it up. We'll pick it up.
Okay.
Yeah, that was just going to say, guys. There's loads that you guys can absolutely talk about. So connect afterwards and take that and find out a little bit more, because I think that sounds like it could be a really good offering. Ian, my love, I know that you are desperate to get out.
I'm not.
I know,
I've literally messaged the guy and he's just got back to me and said, "Don't worry, take your time." So anyway,
I'd go with you. Let's hear what's going on here. Let's understand a little bit more.
Well, I've kind of guess I know a lot of people and they know me as the photographer, but there's a lot more behind that that's gone on over the years. So I started I've always been creative, so I started in the T-shirt printing business. So I did that for 10 years. So taking in graphics, working with graphic designers, things like that. Although I always wanted to be in advertising, really. Then I worked for Weller, the hairdressing company, as a business development manager. And because of where I sit up here in the Lake District, I was party to a lot of the marketing meetings and things because Weller was owned by Procter & Gamble. So I've got a bit of a background with P&G as well. So there's stuff going on there. And with the photography, I am a jack of all trades, really, and a master of none. So I like to think I do everything reasonably well. Grew the beard so people can laugh at it, done schools. But outdoors is my thing. And as I say, the studio's growing. So I don't want to pigeonhole myself too much. There's no way you can round here. Business portraits are a thing. Personal branding is a thing, but it's just a thing. It's not something I heavily market. In fact, I don't really heavily market anything. So to collaborate with somebody in particular, there isn't really anyone in particular. I just get excited sometimes about an industry and go after it. Then I get bored because I've got a load of stock and I can do that now, and people call me to come and do it again and do different things. So then I go after a different route. So there's lots I can do, but it's what I'm going to be excited about next. At the moment, it's making bottles of beer look really pretty, and that's a thing. Tomorrow, it's making leather look really pretty.
Yeah.
In the studio, socially distanced with kids on one side and clients' kids on the other side, and it's going to be really quite exciting. But it's massive, so there's no issues at all with any social distancing.
Sarah's like, you bored? You're already bored of Sarah. That's not. Dear me. What is it
So I operate best when people ask me stuff.
So what excites you when you are collaborating with someone? What is it that excites you about that? Is it the project? Is it the process of collaboration? Because actually that can be a really valuable thing. Even if it doesn't lead to anything, sometimes just that time spent with somebody different, discussing things.
The process of collaboration is amazing, and I'm missing sitting in a cafe drinking coffee, and I do that a lot locally. But I start little side projects to to keep me buzzing. So there's Love Kendall, which is a Facebook page thing that I do, and that's my alter ego.
Is that you?
That's me.
I've seen that. Fantastic.
Yeah. So that, but again, the brand changes between channels, so it's different on Facebook to it is on Instagram. It doesn't really do much on Twitter, but that's just something that's never. It's not designed to make money. It's just a thing. When you're bored, when you're feeling a bit down, that's my alter ego to bring it back up again. That's a happy place. From a work point of view, I'm doing more and more video. I'm not, my company is. So I bring in designers, video, drone pilot, whoever I need to complete the project. But what makes me buzz is the clients seeing what you've produced for them. That's the buzz. They buzz, and then that eggs them on. What can we do next? What can we do next? Why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? And that's where the experience of the marketing, the experience of the PR, of how a bigger company works, corporate, with the likes of P&G, you can use that to get under the skin. You know, there's a way. There is a way. Like these agencies that pay you on 90 days after the last date of invoice. I know, you know, they can pay you. It's just finding that right person. So finding the project and getting involved and getting a buzz off it, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think.
I don't know who it is next, because I do lots of different things and I enjoy doing them all.
I think as well, sometimes we forget how nice it is to be able to stretch our legs and do something different. And certainly through collaboration, that's made easier. You can work with somebody else, work with somebody outside your industry even, in order to kind of find a new path. So I'm gonna crack on, if that's okay, Ian.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Janet's been popping some bits in. I'm gonna mute me and pop.
Gotta go.
See you, Ian. Bye.
That was just a very quick question to you, Ian, about, I imagine that you have to collaborate with a lot of these sorts of people. Yes.
Yes, I do. I do. But I'm very, very choosy about makeup artists. Most people who I collaborate with and who I employ to do work, they have to be multifunctional. I've worked with makeup artists who paint a face and sit down. Nah. Paint a face, put the kettle on, then sit down, paint the face, steam some clothes, fine. They'll never work with me again because they're very unhelpful and they're one-track mind. Collaboration is a team effort.
Yeah.
And I'm the same on set when I've worked with the guys in London with Sarah. Do you want anything carrying, guys? Do you want anything packing away? Do you want anything? You know, that's what I do. That's what I expect from a team as well. So, yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
It's been awesome. Bye.
Lovely. Amanda. And guys, if anyone, I appreciate we are now at 4, so if anyone does have to go, there is no offence taken. But we've promised everyone some time, so I really want to make sure that we stick to what we said we would do.
And so,
Amanda.
I think everybody else has had their turn, haven't they?
No, we've got Nick and Victoria and Matt.
Right. I'm quite happy to listen, because I say all I really need collaboration and help with is like social media, to try and get people engaging in our posts, and that's really sort of where I'm coming from. But I'm conscious of the fact that me at Home Instead, we have a lot of support from everybody as well. So if there's other people that want to go first and need the time, I'm quite happy to sort of give that side of it up and collaborate that way.
That is a very generous collaboration, Amanda. So
I can still sit here and drink my gin, I'm fine.
I was going to say, and actually, Amanda, certainly in terms of creating social content, that's probably a slightly different conversation, and one that I'm happy, we'll happily stay on with you afterwards and have 5 minutes with you about that. That's absolutely no problem.
That's fine. Yeah, just conscious of the fact if there's other people just want to take the time, then I'm fine.
Cool, brilliant. Thank you. That's very sweet. Matt Redmond.
Likewise, as I'm hoping you're going to speak to me tomorrow about some help, if you want to save some time now and just have a few minutes talking about collaboration tomorrow, I'm very happy to do that, and you guys can talk to those that you won't be talking to tomorrow.
Well, God love you as well. You are an angel. That's great. Yeah, we're having a conversation tomorrow, so we happily discuss collaboration as well as your social content. No problem at all. I'm just seeing who. Jan, you're on. You mute, my sweets.
Yeah, right. I'm talking now. Right, the cat's gone, as everybody's noticed. Right, synergy. I think collaboration, you get synergy. It's amazing what sort of comes out. I've got lots out of this afternoon. I mean, obviously I knew about Braithwaite. I didn't know about Let Me Stay, but my new business, the Experience Lakes, is so new that I haven't really sort of, got going. The reason I sort of think that I'm going to be very good at doing this is because I'm local. I'm very well known. I was born in Ulverston, not far from Shed One, and I ran the Walkers Hostel. I don't know anybody realises, but I did a very bad car accident. Unfortunately, I had to give it up. I then took on the Kendal Hostel with my daughter, which I love, but I'm getting too old to clean toilets and other things and that. I mean, one of my, it's great that in the lakes there are so much outdoor activities, but where I think I come into it is I've got the experience that I'm a farmer and I've got sort of contacts with farmers, and who doesn't want to go and feed a pet lamb? Obviously, through the Blue Badge Guide stuff, we do guided walks anyway. With lockdown, I sort of started to do itineraries, but get paid for them. It's sort of something I do normally for sort of the Kendal Hostel, but why not charge for it? It's sort of a skill that we've got. Why not sort of, and none of the sort of tourist information centres have been open and that. And as I say, with sort of experiences, people remember how you make them feel. You've only got one chance to make a first impression. I used to sell outdoor activity toys because I lived on a farm and it was one thing I could do. So none of the children really got Christmas presents. They got adventures and activities, and they remember those much more than they remember any toys that they had. And I'm sure people sort of still do now. I mean, I was very interested in the lady who's doing the clients, the older clients, and not necessarily the older clients, taking them places. I mean, I actually gave up work to look after my mum. I did my first degree in agriculture, and then I sort of gave up work to look after my mum and studied for an MA in travel and tourism at Lancaster. And I really loved taking my mum out. So I know how much pleasure. I mean, some of the things we did, we went down to Bardsey Beach and had an ice cream. It didn't cost very much. Giving up your time is sort of so much more sort of important. And I don't think we've got to, our locals are our customers. And when I say to people that, oh, I'm going to be doing guided walks around Kendal, people say, oh, we'd love to do them, or we've got people coming up and stay. So I don't think we've got to, worry that our customers are not just tourists, that sort of can be anybody and that. And another thing, I know one of the home care places do in town, work with animals. I mean, the reason I think that the hostel is so successful is that we do have a dog and a cat there. And when people go on holiday, the one thing that they sort of miss are their animals. If you've been traveling for 12 months, you can't take your dog or your cat with you. So how nice is it to stroke a cat when he decides not to sort of bite you? And another thing I'm going to get into is singles. I mean, people at my age, and Shed One weddings next year. I've got 12 months to find myself a groom, and that. And I think singles. I think I'm actually having a sunroom doing. I think you saw Sophie that the builders were there. I think he was the one who's upset my internet, and that's why I couldn't get on and that. And I'm having a sunroom doing. It's going to be sort of like a craft place, or I can do afternoon teas, and I think I'm going to be probably serving more meals. I don't know. Nobody knows what's going to happen after lockdown.
No, I think one of the things as well that you've said there, Jan, that is quite interesting. It is certainly a growing market for everyone in the room to consider. Is the farming experience. I know there's the Lakeland Farm Visitor Centre opened up in Inks, which is absolutely super, and you can see they're running their farm, but there is now this secondary income for them, and it's provided loads of locals. We absolutely love it. I mean, we drive through this countryside, don't we? And we forget that it's actually managed for us and looks the way it does because of our farmers. So if you have contacts in that area with farms that you know are open to allowing visitors and that kind of thing, I can see that certainly becoming more and more important, and certainly something that other businesses would like to understand and know more about and be able to send people that way for those experiences that you can't get everywhere. You know, the kind of money can't buy stuff is, like you say, it's an experience rather than a thing, but those money can't buy experiences are things like being able to go and help out on a farm or whatever it might be. They go, Americans always want to see black sheep.
Yeah, and it's not just that the Lake District Visitor Centre is one of my favourite places to go, but also Sizer Farm Shop and walking around the farm trail. And it was actually my exam piece when I was a Cumbrian Blue Badge guide, and that. So yeah, they're very high in my expectations. But yeah, my business is going to do no good unless I collaborate with others. So please, and as you notice, I'm quite good at talking.
You certainly are, Jan. And if anyone hasn't met Jan before, I will eat my hat, basically, because everyone's met Jan. And you can find Jan on Twitter a lot as well, can't you? Fantastic tweeter. So definitely check out Jan.
Lakeland and George Hostel Cat, even the cat Twitters.
Yeah, he's got loads of followers as well.
Yeah, it's more than John Fletcher at Western Gazette.
So there. Brilliant. Thank you, Jan. So I'm just making sure, hang on, who have I met? Victoria Sedgwick. How could I? It's you next.
I don't mind going last because obviously I work with you guys anyway, so I don't mind going last and catch it with you another time. Honestly, if anybody's missed out.
I think Matt we're picking up with tomorrow. Nick, let's go with Nick, and then Vix we will pick up with you after them. Nick.
Okay. Yeah. Well, likewise, I've put a few comments and chatted to a few people around, but you know, the three business I've got, it's a bit different to collaborate with. It's called, as in do a set project or stuff like that. It's a bit difficult. So Cumbria Share is an ongoing membership thing. So there's always opportunities to do different things with that. The guest house, this is something that we're looking at doing when we reopen. It's offering that little bit extra for the whole weekend or week-long experience. So definitely want to have a chat with Sarah about everything that they do down there, and obviously the Shed One guys I know already as well. So there's different opportunities, but even with Vivian as well, you never know. You never know who you're going to meet, who your next customer is, or anything like that. So it's just, even listening to this last couple of hours has been fab. Even if I don't necessarily get something direct from it, it's listening about all the options and things that are out there as well. And the wedding fair, so we might be able to talk to Zoe and Andy about the weddings, and Alan could be able to come along to do some stationery, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, right. Just one. I just want to go back to something that Paul mentioned again. He mentioned about this Lakes TV. And we obviously, this came up yesterday in your panel session as well, about this something that brings everybody to the lakes and has an information hub or whatever it was, and it's been muted around. And Dan Visser from Cumbria Tourism said for 20 years that people have been trying to get this thing out there, but it's going to be so difficult to put together because there's, like we said, there's 5 different councils, 5 different MPs, all these different people, membership associations and the like as well. But Lakes TV did run a few years ago. A good friend of some of ours did it. John McKeown ran it, and he had something called Lakes TV. His website's gone down now, and his LinkedIn profile has stopped because he's obviously doing other things. But there is something. There's an opportunity there. So, but the trick is that for the lakes, I mean, just looking around the room here, Dara's obviously up in Keswick. Most of us are South Lakes, and everything there. It's the bringing everyone together, even though it's only 25 miles away. Getting all these groups together is just so tricky. So and obviously last year, Digital Futures, you did it last summer and things like that, where it's the talks start to happen, but then it's like, right, how do you get to the next step? So how could we get something where people can all come together with it? That's the tricky bit, I think.
I think you're right, and I think as much as the people in this room, we all obviously are all fans of collaboration. I think sometimes there can be a bit of a problem about it with ownership. in Cumbria. This is my little pocket. This is my little project. Sometimes people don't want to let go, but I think we do. We need more. We need more of this. Even just this kind of thing. This kind of
It's like, because you've got Cumbria Tourism, who is the tourism for Cumbria, but Lake District is Cumbria, things like that, and it is private members. I'm not knocking them, but it's private members, so you have to be a member to use their services, and they don't collaborate. You just go to them as services. And I've had conversations with Jill, and she says, we are now a PR company, and if you want to use us, you have to pay for our services. That's it. They don't do collaborations, they don't do special offers. It's a package. Here you go. So, but that's the route that they've gone down. So a lot of people think that Cumbria Tourism should be promoting the lakes as a destination, like Visit England should be doing for all things, but they're not anymore because the funding's gone. So how do they do it? And there's the Park Authority, there's the National Trust own half the land, and all of this kind of stuff. So how do you bring them all together?
Good God, Nick, this is definitely one for another chat. But you're right, there are challenges. There are challenges in this county. There's no one can deny that. But I'm glad we've got. Although there are lots of them, I do think a lot of the organisations there are doing their best. But sometimes it's that collaboration word that could be more helpful. I understand what you're saying. Brilliant, thank you, Nick. Vix. We're going to come to you, and then we can bring to a close, and I can pick up with Amanda individually afterwards about a social.
Okay, well, thank you. But it's just, I mean, as you say, Safe, just doing this is it sparks everybody's minds as to think, oh, okay, you could do this. So it's the same old, isn't it? If you know, like, and trust people, you end up thinking about them if you see them regularly. And obviously, we work together, which is fab, and I work with many people in the group. But one thing that definitely came out of it for me was that number one being I've only had one gin, honestly. Similar values, and I think it's like-minded people. I know that, you know, we work together at Windermere Works, and Ellen's brilliant, and we've worked together. And in fact, often then you kind of get to the point where I know Damon got in touch with you, didn't you, Ellen, about kind of working together.
Yeah.
Which was a guy I met brilliantly from one of the LA23 events, and then he contacted me with this big doorstep challenge I'd done to say he wants to be part of it. And because he's met Ellen, he'd like Ellen to be part of it as well now, because he doesn't want to just have it just for himself. So with all that in mind, it's just incredible that you work with so many different people, and it is about working with people that you get on with. Ellen's got brilliant jokes, so she entertains you while you're working together as well. And the other thing, and just from being on here, I've been invited to be part of what's called a global think tank, which is for exhibitions and events, and it's quite interesting actually. And again, you know, talking to, it might be worth having a chat to you, Paul, and Sarah as well, and obviously Flock, who obviously are in my fourth mind anyway. But yeah, it's just interesting to then just be able to see how things would actually knit together, how they fit, and definitely, you know, moving forward, that's what it's about, really, isn't it?
Pop the link to this think tank in the chat. Is it let us pop it in there, and then we can all have a bit of a dig into it, because that sounds.
I find it. It's something I was
from an events point of view. It is. Oh, it's bleak.
Yeah, and it's
a beautiful landscape right now. So I'd love to know when we can do some stuff again. That would be great.
And they are looking at kind of virtual stuff as well, but not very successfully, really, because it can't replace the face-to-face. It can't replace face-to-face, but you need good tech in order to expand. And basically they were saying you need to expand the offering and change the things which were bad before. Like certainly going back to exhibitions, which is my team leader, it's where his background is. You know, basically they just sell the space. It's like shell scheme space, sell it as high as you can, and then have loads of really dissatisfied exhibitors because nobody's got what they want. They've had to pay $5,000 to have some lighting and a bit of Wi-Fi, you know, and it's all about talking about that has to change. So it's fascinating to be part of it. And I say that we're scheduled to have a meeting tomorrow, but the importance I tag to what else is happening tomorrow at the same time is now, I've asked them to come to that, but I certainly can't come to the meeting, even though it's a global thing, because I need to be part of the Black Lives Matter that Flock are doing tomorrow, which is going to be brilliant. So, you know, sometimes it's about, you know, back to values again. It's really just being who you are, and then together you all kind of form in your flock or your pack, if you like, of who works well together. And the more you see one another, the more you can then promote.
I think you're absolutely right. I think one of the great things about Cumbria is that we are kind of a small county, and you know we're massive physically, but we're pretty small. There's only 500,000 people here, isn't there? So, and I think we know 400,000 of them. So it's a nice place that when you do get to know people, you can quite deeply get to know and understand and trust people, you know, in Cumbria, and you can very quickly find out whether or not someone is going to be in line with you or they're not. Guys, thank you. I feel like we've got as much out of that. It's actually we've got bags and bags of ideas about things that we can do to support you guys, make some more connections. What we will do, we've recorded this for, you know, for posterity, really, so we can all look back and be like, oh, do you remember when we all just had to, you know, sit in rooms and drink gin alone?
My hair was so long.
Exactly. So what we'll do, we will share the video with you at some point if anyone's desperate to look back at this momentous occasion. But more importantly, we will share each other's contact details, because actually there's just within this little room there was a lot of potential collaborations that could happen. Matt, we're going to speak to you tomorrow. Amanda, if you'd like to stay on, we will have a quick chat with you about your social. I know it's not a topic for everybody, so we don't all have to stay for that. But thank you so much for your time. Thank you to Shed One for the most bloody delicious.
Thank you, guys.
It really was great. This pipette. This is dangerous.
It's great on your tongue.
Yeah, I have been. Little worry drops. Oh no, I've missed.
Oh dear.
All right, got it. Thank you, Zoe and Andy, all for being here. We will be back in touch. You know where to find us at 8 o'clock. Somewhere. And if you are available tomorrow at 7 p.m, your presence at the Black Lives Matter conversation that Janet is, you're not hosting, are you? Janet is generously and bravely creating an open platform, an open space for people to have awkward conversations about Black issues. So if you've ever wondered, is it racist or is it okay to say this? Janet was there to answer your questions and help you understand Black Lives Matter and why it does matter. And we as Flock stand by that, and I stand with Janet. I'm going to let Janet close.
Okay, I was literally just closing as Sophie speaking in the chat there. I think the big things that seem to come out of today, apart from lots of ideas about how everyone can collaborate with each other and with others outside of this little group here, were trust, values, honesty. I think those things just kept coming up over and over again, and they were thread throughout what we were talking about. I think people also really want to help each other. At the beginning of COVID, when we were all locked down in those first couple of weeks, I don't know how many videos and stories and blogs I saw about how the world was going to change by the end of all this, and we were all going to be better human beings, and there were going to be deer running down the street and rabbits knocking on your front door with chocolates or some such thing. None of that is going to happen. Everyone wants to get back to work and earn some money, and I think they've forgotten about all those values that they were talking about, but not completely. And I think today shows that very much, that people really want to work together. Everyone wants to help each other to survive and thrive. And as So says, Cumbria is massive, but it's tiny in terms of the number of people. And we can all help each other and just look after each other. So thank everybody for all your input. We do offer free 20-minute consultations. It was one of the things I was putting in the chat to Amanda when she was talking about the social stuff. We'll do that with you now anyway, Amanda. But if people do want to have a little private time with us, give us a shout. It won't happen tomorrow or anything like that, but it does happen. We do get there eventually. It takes us a while sometimes, but do give us a shout. And we don't have a clock on. That does not mean you can have us all afternoon. But you can have a little bit longer than 20 minutes if you go over. And last but not least, Sophie's absolutely right. Tomorrow night, we will be going live on Facebook and on Insta to deal with all those awkward questions about Black Lives Matter, that movement, and all the things that are going on in the world right now, as there are lots more things going on other than COVID, and you've all seen the news. So if you can get there, listen, ask any questions you want. I am not there to judge. I am not there to tell you that you are wrong. I am just there to inform and educate. So come and chat to me. I'm a Black woman in Cumbria. I know a thing or two. And that's it from me.
Right, yeah. Thank you, guys. We'll do that awkward, awkward weird wave.
Anybody on mute so that we can say goodbye loudly.
Thanks very much, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Andy. To you as well.
I hope they can hear you.
What are you doing? Quietly, even better. Even more awkward. It's my favourite.
Amanda, stay there. Everybody else can leave.
Lovely. Keep going. Don't stop till the end. Wait it. I love it.
Thanks, Andy. Absolutely brilliant.
Thanks, Andy. Bye.
Thanks, Vic.
Why is everybody quiet?
It's because of this.
Now you got all feedback.
You mute yours. There we are. Lovely. Great.
Sorry,
now we have you.
Before I go, because I didn't send out the invitation for 4 o'clock tomorrow. Are you still up for it?
What was that?
The meeting with Damon.
Oh God, yeah, you did say about that. It's you, babe. We will be there.
Yeah, you sure? Sure, keep it.
Yeah.
Right, I'll do it now. Right, thank you. I'll leave it to Amanda. Lovely to see you again. Bye bye.
Thanks, Vic. See you soon.
Bye, sweets.
Ciao.
Awkward wave. Hey, lovely.
God bless you, you two. Thank you. I didn't mean to have a private one, well, 2 to 1. If you